Childhood and Growing Up. This is for B.Ed first year, exclusively for Pondicherry University, explained by Dr. Shubha, Vasavi College of Education, Pondicherry. Now this is Unit-6. We are going to deal with socio-cultural impact on learner, under which we will be dealing with social stratification, that is classification, dimension of stratification, factors of family, school and media influence, social norms, social acceptance, sociometric status, socio-empathic ability, nature of prejudice, socio-cultural impact on learning, difficulties and learning disabilities, cultural space of the learner, leadership influence in behavior. So we are dealing with social stratification, under which we are going to read about media, mass media, social media and its influences. Communication channels through which news, entertainment, education, data or any promotional messages are disseminated through media. Media includes every broadcasting, narrowcasting medium. Broadcasting means throughout the world. It's a broad view, broad area. It's for a broad area. Narrowcasting medium. These are newspapers, magazines, TV, radio. That is Tamil magazines only for Tamil speaking people. Likewise, billboards, direct mail, telephone, fax and internet. Media is the plural of medium and can take a plural or singular verb. Media means it's plural also, singular also, depending on the sense intended. Mass media is communication. It can be written communication, broadcast in TV, or spoken that reaches a very large audience. This includes television, radio, advertising, movies, internet, newspapers, magazines and so forth. These are mass media, reaching to the mass. Now social media refers to the means of interactions among people in which they create, share and exchange information and ideas in virtual communities and networks. Virtual means they don't see face to face, but face to face in person they don't see, but they will have connections. Like Facebook, the Office of Digital Communication manages the main Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube and video accounts. Now here in Facebook we have so many groups, those who are interested in flowers, they will form a group. Those who are interested in herbal medicines, they will form a group. So it's like that. Now violence and interactive media forms. Internet, computer and video games as opposed to passive media. Now passive media are television, movies and videos, where computer video games are active, interactive. That is, you also play with the computer. When you play games, video games, you play, you make a move. That is interactive. But passive media means television. They are broadcasting something. You have no way to change the end or change the course of a serial. You cannot do that. Movie also, you have to listen to that story. You cannot change anything in that story. So these are passive media. This may have even stronger effects on children, and as a result, this has become a focus of a new research. Children are theoretically more susceptible to behavioral influences when they are active participants than when they are observers or passive participants. So they are more susceptible to behavioral influences, means when they play video games. Now you can sit at home and you can play football. Means you need not go over there to the ground. So everything is virtual here. and this influence a lot among children. This is a real problem. So to further legitimize these concerns, what is the concern? That is interactive, active media influence more than passive media. That is the claim. The element of child-initiated virtual violence may result in even more significant effects than those of passive media. What is a child-initiated virtual violence? Means when they are playing like a temple run and all those games, they have to kill a person. Means kill, 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 like that. So they self-motivate, they have to kill, they have to hurt that person. Means they have to defeat that person somehow or some. So they are interactive. Virtual violence is there. Means they are not actually punching somebody, but they are punching virtually, imaginarily. So despite the research reports, there was a debate between television broadcasters and scientists regarding the harmful effects of television violence on children. Even TV. The broadcasters asserted that there was not enough evidence. They are telling television is not making the children violent, and it's not responsible for the aggressive behavior of the children. But no, when you see Tom and Jerry broadcasted in the TV, they get a sense of punching somebody. So it's like that. And WWF, when they see, they want to punch somebody. So television also influence children's behavior. Now let's discuss about social norms. Norms and procedures you might have heard. Social norms are unwritten rules about how to behave in a society, in a community. They provide us with an expected idea of how to behave in a particular social group or culture. For example, we expect our students to arrive to lesson on time and complete their work. When we go to a party, we have to dress up in some manner. When we go to a marriage, we have to dress up in some manner. When we are going to a hotel or a temple, or if at all we are attending a funeral, then we need to dress up in that way. Okay, so that is social norms. So we need to behave in a particular way. The idea of norms provides a key to understand social influence in general and conformity in particular. Conformity means we need to fit into that group. Social norms are the accepted standards of behavior of social groups. Let's suppose we are B.Ed students. Now we need to go to the college, in particular uniform. So we are conforming to the standard of the college. Now these groups range from friendship and work groups to nation states. Behavior which fulfills these norms is called conformity. Most of the time, roles and norms are very powerful ways of understanding and predicting what people will do. There are norms defining appropriate behavior for every social group. So we can understand this group will behave only like this. This particular college students will behave in a particular way. This set of students from IT sector from Bangalore, they will behave in certain way. So from social norms we can understand, we can predict what that people will do. Norms provide an order in the society. It's very difficult to see how human society could operate without any social norms. When we go to the bank, we have to stand in a queue. We need to wait for our turn. Human beings need norms to guide and direct their behavior, to provide order and predictability in social relationships, and to make sense of and understanding of each other's action. So we need to follow certain guidelines, norms and procedures. If at all we need to be sociably adaptive. Now let's learn about social acceptance. This can be defined as the fact that most people, in order to fit in with others, attempt to look and act like them. Or sometimes it is the ability to accept or to tolerate differences and diversity in other people or groups of people. It is the fact that most people, in order to fit in with the others, they look and act like them. So what is social acceptance? Means we need to change our behavior so that the society or the community or the peer group will accept us. We need to be accepted in the society, and also we need to accept the other members of the society, like with their positive and negative, with the ups and downs. A term referring to the ability to accept or to be able to tolerate the differences and the diversity in other people or groups of people, and tolerance. Some opposite notions of social acceptance would include racism and prejudice in general. The highest result of education is tolerance. That's what Helen Keller is telling. Learning about other races and cultures promotes social acceptance. So let's suppose two persons are there, like one is a vegetarian, the other one is a non-vegetarian. So both of them are sitting together and eating. So this person has to accept the fact, and he has to definitely agree with the fact that the other person does not like non-vegetarian item. So it is social acceptance. It has to respect the belief and the faith of the other person. Now let's learn about sociometric status. This refers to how much a child is liked and noticed by peers, like clique they say. Like if two persons are always together, then it's a clique. You can easily see cliques in schools. Like two of them will go together, whatever the work the teacher is giving, two of them will jump and go. It reflects a broader categorization of peer acceptance than simple friendships. So it's more than friendship. Sociometric categories include popular, rejected, neglected, controversial, and average children. So children can be classified under this sociometric category as popular children, rejected, neglected, controversial, and average in a classroom. Sociometric status is very important because peer relations play a significant role in the social and emotional development of children. That is, only if the other friends accept you, social acceptance. In the classroom, you have to be accepted by the other person. Only then you can be successful. Otherwise, it will impede your social and emotional development. Now let's see what is this popular. Popular children receive many positive and few negative nominations. Means almost 3/4 of the class would like them. They are well liked by the others. Popular children are cooperative, they are sociable, they are very friendly and sensitive. Although they are assertive and capable of using aggressive behavior also, they exhibit few disruptive and negative behaviors, always positive behaviors mostly. Instead, they appear to use their social skills to get what they want without resorting to aggression. Naturally, if they are popular, then teacher will definitely listen to them and they will get what they want. Popular children also tend to show high levels of academic and intellectual abilities. They are skilled in initiating and maintaining positive social interactions and relationships. If at all anything to be postponed and no homework, then everybody will ask, only these popular children. You go and ask teacher not to give homework. So these kids will go, run and go and get it done. Now let's see the rejected children. They receive many negative and only few positive nominations from the other children. They are actively disliked. Rejected children exhibit fewer positive social skills and traits than children in other groups. They show weaker academic intellectual abilities. They are rejected by their peers. The rejected children who display disruptive and aggressive behavior, and they are socially anxious and they are withdrawn. They don't want to mingle with the other person. The other peers are rejecting them, even they want to reject the others. Now neglected. These children receive few positive and few negative nominations. They engage in few disruptive and aggressive behaviors. They show less sociability than their peers. but research indicates that neglected children are not at great risk for negative outcomes. But in more structured activities, these children show more sociability. Structured activity, what do you mean by that? Like in physical education classroom, they all go out and play. It is structured by the PT master. These children show more sociability only in structured activity. Otherwise, they may prefer solitary activities, means they want to do anything solo, ultimately contributing to their neglected status. Neglected children are not disliked, they are not noticed by others, and they don't want to project themselves also. Now let's say controversial and then average. These children receive both positive and negative nomination from their peers. They are well liked by some children, but some children will dislike them. They engage in as much aggressive behavior as rejected aggressive children, but they compensate for their aggression with positive social behavior. Means if at all they had a fight, next day they'll come with a chocolate or a rose to the teacher. Similar to popular children, they tend to have high levels of academic and intellectual abilities, but they are controversial. Their positive behaviors and attributes offset their higher levels of aggression. These children engage in aggressive behavior, but they are also cooperative and sociable. Average children, they receive an average number of positive and negative nominations from their class. They do not fit into one of these categories. But most children fit into all the categories. They are more sociable than the rejected and neglected children, but not as sociable as popular and controversial children. So they form into the average group. This picture tells you about the popular, neglected, rejected and controversial average children. Social rejection as indicated by like least. Few, many this side. High social preference and high social impact. Low social impact this side and low social preference. High social preference, they are popular. Low social impact, neglected. So you can just see, and average children, they fall into almost all the interjection. This is again depending on teacher preference and peer preference. If teacher also prefers and peer also prefers, then they are popular stars. If teacher's preference is less, then peer preference is more, student heroes they are. If teacher and peer they don't prefer, they are rejected. But teacher only prefer, then they are teacher's pet. So it's like that. Now this picture tells about empathy and sympathy. Empathy is affective component and also cognitive component. That is mind and heart. Heart is also there. Mind is also there. So mind will rationalize and analyze why such disparity is there, why this person is suffering. But in sympathy, there is only affective component and the cognitive component is very less. So empathy will have more of affective and cognitive. That is the emotional and the intellectual component. The next thing we need to see is about social empathy. Now we have two words called empathy and sympathy. Now what is this empathy? Social empathy is the ability to understand people by perceiving or experiencing their life situations and as a result gain insight into structural inequalities and disparities. Means put ourselves in their shoes. That is the thing. That is, you have to place yourself in their situation, in their environment. So perceiving and experiencing their life situations, and you have to gain an insight why this inequality, why this disparity is there. Increased understanding of social and economic inequalities can lead to social and economic justice and social well-being. So one has to have social empathy if at all social justice is there in the country. Now there are three kinds of empathy: the cognitive, emotional, and compassionate. But of course, not all empathy looks and feels the same. Each one is different. Cognitive empathy. Cognition means knowledge, the mind part. By definition, cognitive empathy is simply knowing how the other person feels and what they might be thinking, sometimes called perspective taking. That is, you just think why this person is like this, why this person is feeling like this. So this is what Daniel Goleman, a renowned psychologist, the author of the book Emotional Intelligence. Initially we didn't have emotional intelligence. This is a recent concept. Emotional intelligence. One need to have a balanced emotions. So he says cognitive empathy is just thinking. It's only knowledge part. It is concerned with the thought, understanding, and intellect, no feeling. Emotional empathy, this also by definition, when you feel physically along with the other person, means if somebody is crying, you just understand why that person is crying. So that is cognitive empathy. But you also cry with the other person, physically along with the other person, you feel as though their emotions were contagious. So this is with the feelings and physical sensation, mirror neurons in the brain. So this is emotional empathy. Next is compassionate empathy. With this kind of empathy, we not only understand a person's predicament and feel with them, but are spontaneously moved to help if needed. This is what Daniel Goleman says. It is concerned with intellect, emotion, and action. Intellect is cognitive, emotion is emotional empathy, action also together gives a compassionate empathy. So this is about social empathy. Now we'll be dealing with the other in the next session. Thank you.